What about like being like highly risk averse? Because there's that too, and
Well,
there's no
you can get over it.
stability. You think anyone can get over that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just that you have to just bite the bullet. Right?
Maybe, yeah. I think some people, I think if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, there's some kind of risk taking.
Correct. It's not,
that
yeah,
like
you have to.
kind of you get excited about. Like you're not like, oh my God, I'm going to throw up every time I try to start my
Right.
dream, basically. So I guess, how do you set yourself up to a position where you like, you know, you're not going to succeed or thrive in a corporate setting? You're green. You have a lot of ideas, but you don't know exactly like where your calling is. Like, what are like the basics that you would have to be able to like start working on being self-sufficient and being able to do that?
Well, I had a lot of foresight, I think. So when I went to college, I knew the only point of me going to college is to get a credential.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's all that matters here. If I want to learn, there's books, right? So Bucknell, where I went to, had a business program, and I knew that business program was going to open a lot of doors for me. And I converted, I want to say like 13, a lot of people to business majors, because it's like, you like psychology? Great. Go read psychology books. You know, there's a lot of them in our superb library. Bucknell's a great library, but why are you here? Mm-hmm. You're here because you want to get a credential that's going to help you get a lucrative job. Mm-hmm. So what I used to do is I would have a fairly high paying day job and work on my other personal career stuff in the evening. I didn't really want to be an author per se. What I wanted was no alarm clock, never have to engage in small talk, and never have to interact with someone that I don't want to. Mm-hmm. And that's just a function as much as my like disabilities, or a word you want to use, or versions, as it is as anything else. And having accomplished that, it's really great, because I, like so many people in my audience, either they're business owners or, you know, they're stuck in some job, and they ask me for advice and be like, you know, there's someone I work with, and they're always talking about Trump, and it's just like, what should I do? I'm like, you should sit down and shut the fuck up, because you're never going to get through to this person. This person is of no value to you, other than, you know, maybe you're working on projects together. This isn't your world. Like, this is of corporate America, or I can't, in probably other countries, I'm sure as well. It's a very artificial place, and you're there for one thing, which is to make money, to further what you really care about. So, you know, that was kind of my perspective going in, and it took a bit of time, but I think it'll be much easier now, because thanks to the internet, like, I could have my day job, and I could set up an Etsy shop, or I could set up a Twitter account or a YouTube. And it's really easy to kind of, I don't want to say really easy, I'm sorry. It's much easier than it was for me, 25 years ago, to kind of have this double life at first and then slowly transition.
Mm-hmm. I wish I had you when I was deciding to go to school. Seriously, I switched majors like 3 times. I ended up getting a psych degree, and my mom's like, why are you doing that? It's a waste of time. And I don't know why I went to school and paid that massive bill. I feel like I've learned so much more post-graduation.
Yeah,
I'm like, what was this for? And I was just so pressured, and it was like, you will be a failure if you don't have this piece of paper. And I've never used it. I didn't retain most of it, because it's like, you're in this environment where the professor is unmotivated and uninspired, because not everyone had Jordan Peterson as their psychology teacher. That certainly wasn't my experience. So if they're not excited, I'm not going to be excited. And guess what? I memorized something just to pass a test, and it leaves as soon as I leave that door.
Right.
Yeah. So I think the future is going to be really interesting, especially with my kids. I'm like, is college even going to be a thing?
Right.
Or is that going to be kind of antiquated?
Yeah.
Because why am I going to spend $250,000 to go to an Ivy League when I can go onto YouTube and get the best minds in the world in my living room?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.